Which cup is the best? Inside the great mystery, that is, we don't really own anything. What is this competition we feel then, before we go, one at a time, through the same gate?
I can see her clearly. Her name was Shirley Colmer, an American member of the Precious Blood religious community. I met her in Liberia, where she was working at a local high school. Shirley was a vibrant woman with lovely white hair. When she smiled, one could easily see the gap between her upper front teeth. In the United States, most people would have rushed her to the orthodontist for braces to correct the situation. Not in Liberia. In that culture, a gap in one's front teeth is a sign of great beauty. When I discovered that, I thought of how easily we are seduced by our cultural expectations into what is or is not acceptable.
Yes, I see and hear this all the time. Constant comparisons and competition based on what our culture tells us is good-looking, attractive, desirous. People end up rejecting themselves or others because they might not have all the correct standards and qualifications. It is not just the external looks that are part of the competition. There are also competitions for who is the best in spiritual growth. People envy others for their holiness or their ability to pray instead of valuing the way that God is moving uniquely in their own lives. It is very difficult to be ourselves and not be shaped by the expectations of others. We aren't meant to be like everyone else, although we constantly hear this expectation. This same culture instills in us the idea that there's something wrong with us, we are flawed, if we don't measure up to certain qualifications.
Maybe that's why so many people envy others' bodies, intelligence, personality traits, or talents. We tend to constantly sit in judgment upon ourselves and upon others. This is dangerous for the spiritual life. In her book On the Wings of Self-Esteem, Louise Hart warns comparison sets us up for unhealthy competition. It drives wedges between people, creates separation, and enforces conformity. We constantly compare ourselves with others and end up rejecting ourselves, one of God's beloved creatures, and we follow someone else's dream instead of our own. Today, give thanks to God for all you are and have. Do not heed the false voices of your culture.
Breathing in, I am your name. Breathing out, thank you, God.
Find another cup and set it alongside of yours. Sit quietly, looking at the two cups. Enjoy the uniqueness of each cup. Reflect on your own originality. Think of yourself with others. Bring any comparison and competition to God. Listen to God's message to you. Offer gratitude to God for who you are.
But who indeed are you, a human being, to argue with God? Will what is moulded say to the one who moulded, "Why have you made me like this?" Has the potter no right over the clay to make out of the same lump one object for special use and another for ordinary use?
When I look longingly at the gifts of others and forget or deny my own gifts from you, God, lead me to accept myself as I am. When I constantly compare myself to another, grant me an appreciation for my own distinct personhood. When I get caught in envy, jealousy, gossip, or rejection of myself or others, draw me back to you and teach me more about the love you have for each of us.
I will not envy others or compete with them.